Good morning, happy viewers, vagrants, subscribers, and otherwise. Welcome to Lorenzo's space program, Planting Flags. This is episode number 8, and this is part 2 of the Dunamax experience. We are trying to build a rocket that will reach Juna, the Mars analog, in the Kerbal Space Program universe. As you might already have noticed, I am rather drunk at this point. I have just gotten home from a party, and tomorrow we will resume this goodness with a boat party. But for now, let us suffice with the new and revamped Dunamax rocket. In the last episode we used a tri-symmetrical booster unit to get it up into space, which was just insufficient. The nuclear engines here were just not enough to get a stable orbit going, after which to proceed to Juna. So I have upgraded the rocket here to a quad, well, in the end it's a quad, to a quadruple, yes, a quad is 4, isn't it? Yes, a quadruple booster core with a onion layer separation scheme. So these 4 boosters will fire first. Well, all of the engines will fire first, but then these 4 tanks will be fueling everything, and when they're done, they will be ejected. Then when these tanks are done, they will be ejected, and then it's just the central core remaining. We will see how this goes. In this episode, the only goal will be to get this stack, and then with the stack I mean this bit, the nuclear rocket, the two landers that will land on Juna and Ike, which is Juna's moon, to get it into a Kerbin orbit. Then in the next episode we will see if we can get a transfer orbit to Juna going, and if that landing is going to work or not. First though, the launch is up, and as ever I have designed this rocket without making a video, but it has never been tested, so this is going to be the first launch of it. We're going to have a quick countdown, like 3, 2, 1, and here we go. And there we have liftoff. The launch clamps are left behind as they should be. The rocket is fairly steady going upwards. We're at 100 meters per second now, which is alright for this time. We want to get up to 200 and then maybe start throttling back depending on which altitude we're at. We're at 2 kilometers now, which is fairly low down. Oh, there was an explosion. That was not good. There is fuel tanks getting off, more explosions. The rocket is still fairly centered. Let's separate those lost tanks and try to regain control. Oh, there's more explosions. This is not looking good at all. There's an engine overtaking the command pod, and let's basically just eject all the stages, eject the command pod, because so far we are only up to 6 casualties, which isn't that much considering we've planted flags on 2 moons. Anyway, let's deploy this parachute and save these 3 brave Kerbal. With the parachute deployed, we can be sure there is no more rockets above these people, so they will be safe. And in the meantime, well, we'll wait until these people are crashed, but yes, so look at those pretty explosions. These guys will land safely, we're sure of that, so they don't count for casualties, and we will restart the flight. Not sure about you, but I think I missed some overheating, so I think this all can be fixed with some throttling back. So we're just going to do the launch again. Today we have Malto, Mallory, and Lucy Kerman. It's Lucy. Lucy is a girl's name. This is Lucy Kerman. Full throttle, and here we go for launch again. 3, 2, 1, launch. And we're gonna pay particular attention here to these engine diagrams, and as soon as one of them starts overheating, we are going to throttle back. Look, at the previous launch I did not notice this. I'm going to throttle back. We're at about 80% throttle now, and the overheat has been stopped. So at this amount of throttle we can keep going until these outer 4 tanks are depleted. When they're depleted, they will be dropped, shedding the dead weight of the rockets and of course the tanks themselves. And then we'll be free to throttle up to have these next 5 inner... Oh shit, there is an explosion. I have no idea what happened there, but I'm sure to decouple the command pod because we care about Malto, Mallory, and Lucy. We care about them, and I think it's probably safe to deploy the parachute. We're at 5 kilometers altitude. Deploy the chute, and let's see if all this debris falls down around them without causing any harm. In the meantime, let's look at the F3 window, see what happened. The structural failure and linkage between Rockamac Jumbo 64 fuel tank and the hydraulic detachment manifold. This is a separator that separates the bits from the other bits. So that failed. This is good to know. I think this means we will have to proceed at an even lower throttle. And if this doesn't work, we are going to have to add more struts. So we're going to restart this flight and see what we can do. It happened at 37 seconds. We have the same crew again, Malto, Mallory and Luzay. So I'm going to go for full throttle until 25 seconds. Here we go. Oh, this is not going to go well from the start. Not sure what happened there. Decouple the pod and please deploy the parachute. Deploy the parachute. Shoo, that is a close one. These people will survive. We are... Ooh, yes, they did survive. They landed in the middle of explosions. We are going to go to the vehicle assembly building and adding some struts, because this is obviously going nowhere. There we go, some smooth jazz. There's nothing but engines here. And as you can see, there's struts galore. And we are going to add a few more. Four-way symmetry. Just add another strut here. And this is the bit, this here is the bit that got separated on the previous flight. So we're going to add a strut here, a strut here, always with four-way symmetry, remember that, and on the other side of the fuel tank as well. Remember kids, when your rocket isn't working, add more struts. That's always a good way to proceed. So with these struts added, I added 4 of them, times 4 is 16 extra struts. The rocket has become a little bit heavier, but we're going to see if that made any difference at all. And if it did, I'm going to be happy, and we have to put this interplanetary intra-system Dunamax Explorer into orbit. Here we go again. So we're going to keep an eye on the overheats, hope the struts will hold. So this booster cluster will remain attached while it's doing the boosting. We're at almost 13, 14, steer a little bit to the center, 15 seconds now, throttling back. Oh no, there's the overheat, throttle back. Oh god damn it, I didn't throttle back in time. We are going to shut down these engines, separate all the stacks, separate. Oh, I throttled up the engines, everything is going horribly wrong again. Let's see if we can do this. Decouple the engine and deploy the parachute. This was 100% my fault. I activated all the rockets, then disengaged the control links and basically shouted to make things happen. Shouting at the rocket, usually not a great idea. So now there's this massive engine plowing us head first into the ground. The parachute has been deployed, but the only thing we have control of is this pod. So I'm rotating the controls, trying to use the inertial gyroscopes to get it free from the rocket cluster, to get them. Yes, it has escaped. The rocket cluster with its nuclear payload can go on to certain doom, but these 3 brave astronauts will survive. This has been their 3rd outing on this horrible rocket. This time we're going to try again for the 4th time. Because the design appeared to be solid, it was just me that was fucking up. So we're going to try once more, and if this doesn't work, then I'm going to go to bed and call it a night. So here we go, full throttle, launch. And I'm definitely going to pay attention here now to the overheat status. So we're at full throttle now, everything appears to be going well. There's a little bit of wobble, that does not count. Oh shit, everything went horribly wrong there. Look, all the boosters are going off on their own merry way. This, by the way, does not count for the 1 launch, because I'm going to get 1 more. Decouple these people and they are once again safe. And I don't know why, but if I go through the vehicle assembly building, it seems to go better. So I'm going to do that and then proceed to another launch. this launch is definitely going to be the last one before I go to bed. If this one doesn't work, the Dunamax Part 2 episode has failed again. We need to get this interplanetary stage into orbit. Then we can talk about nuclear rockets, what's exciting about the transfer to Juna, and what that means for the Mars trips that might be planned, that are in fact planned for the real life. So we want this to succeed, people. Fingers crossed. 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have a launch. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to throttle back a little bit. We're going at 90%. Please keep these boosters attached. If there's any overheating happening, please tell me. There's 4 engines overheating. Now we're going to reduce throttle when they are at 75% overheat. This is about now. Reduce throttle a little bit. Explosions. What the hell happened? Explosions everywhere. Deploying the parachute again. The crew survived, but there is a massive amounts of rocketry chaos. Having a look at the F3 window, what happened? Hydraulic detachment manifold. It's the center cluster that is failing. I'm going to try without any redesign. Going to try lifting off at like 75% throttle. Lower than maximum. This will cost us fuel on the way up, but if the rocket stays in one piece, that will of course be worth it. It's again Malto, Mallory and Luzet. It's their 5th or 6th or I don't know how many outing on this dreadful rocket. They are very brave indeed, but so far they have survived every launch. We are going to go for full throttle on launch. This is now launch, and then as they clear the pad, reduce to 75%. This will slow their ascent obviously, but it will also reduce stresses on these links, and hopefully that will be enough of a reduction to preclude these catastrophic explosions. We are slowly approaching 50% overheat, so I'm going to try gently tap the throttle, reduce it a little bit more. No, I accidentally increased it there, but we're going to reduce it a little bit more. We're going steady at 120 meters per second, getting at 3 kilometers of altitude. The rocket is wobbling a little bit. I have to bring it up a little bit straighter. We need to clear more atmosphere before pitching over, but the outer boosters are almost empty. The overheat is not going to be a problem. I'm going to increase the throttle slightly. No explosions so far, and the fuel is almost out. As soon as it runs out, separate those and throttle up to maximum. There is a quintuple, a cluster of 5 mainsails pushing this rocket up into space. We're pulling only at 1.2 or 3 Gs at the moment. No, there's explosions. Oh shit. So full throttle is still too ambitious. The boosters continue upwards without the capsule. It's gotten a fairly large amount higher than it did before. It's at about 9 kilometers now, and with these parachutes deployed safely, we can say there have been no casualties. These people will be dropped into the ocean and they will be recovered. In the meantime, we are going to restart this flight and see if we can make it work with a little bit less throttle and a couple of more struts, because obviously more struts are a dire necessity. We are going to attach this booster cluster with more struts to the central cluster. See if that works. Save the ship, launch the ship, and I promise you this is definitely going to be the last attempt at getting this Juno rocket into orbit, so in the next episode we can actually move on to Juno. This is important. This is the last attempt. As I said 4 or 5, perhaps 3 times before, this is definitely going to be the last attempt. Okay, here we go. 2, 1, 0. Boom. Cleared the launch pad, reducing throttle, you know, keeping those connections alive. We're at 50 meters per second, 60, 70. Accelerating slightly slower, but steadier. Hopefully this rocket will stick together, stay together, keep working as promised. We're pointing upwards fairly accurately, I suppose, reasonably. We're at 2 kilometers, 120 meters per second. We could be going faster. What the hell is this? Again, everything goes to shit, and sadly, this time the parachute has been sheared off. So the crew is at 3 kilometers with no way to slow their descent. This is not looking great. Mallory Kerbin is going to walk outside, and he lost control of the ladder. Hopefully he will be able to... No. Fall on your head. Fall on your head. This is the only way he can survive. If he falls on his head, which is more bouncy than his other body parts, if he falls on his head, he will survive. And he did not survive. Here's the crew with... Oh, shit. So that's 3 more casualties. That's the space program now has a total of 9 casualties. I'm going to try this one more time with more struts in between the outer boosters and the central boosters, because as I told you, this was going to be the last attempt ever, and that was actually a lie. So this is actually going to become the last attempt ever, with more struts added, and we're going to use even lower throttle. So once more onto the breach. This rocket should have enough power. It just doesn't have enough structural integrity, which is a bother. We have a different crew today because the other guys died. We have Gusky, Jewelly, and Dilltop. All Kerman, they're one family. Best of luck to you guys. Full throttle and launch. Oh, it's immediately went to shit. I don't know what's the difference here, but something went horribly wrong. These guys lost their parachute and they died. This means 12 casualties now. This space program is not doing too hot. I don't know how or why. Oh, this might be a problem. We might have to delete this strut, which leads from the rocket to the launch clamp. That will be a problem because it will hold the rocket on the ground. Oh, no. No. This... I Control Z that. Yeah, great. The rocket should not be held to the launch clamp with struts. I have no idea what went wrong. I'm just going to try and launch again, which is always what works. If it failed, try again. And then if it doesn't work, try again. I'm not going to go for full throttle right off the bat now. Hopefully the crew, we have 12 casualties now. Lowing, Samsel and Genly, they are the crew that have accepted to just try again without any changes. So these guys are really brave. We are going to be launching at 80% thrust, which happens now. Everything appears to be going well. No catastrophic explosions. The rocket is wobbling slightly, and I think there is... No, all the engines appear to be working fine. I'm going to make a slight course adjustment. And again an explosion. I have no idea what's going on with this rocket. This time though, their parachute system has survived. So the parachute has been deployed and these people will survive. At the moment I don't know what's wrong with this rocket. I might try adding some wings. Ooh, don't get hit by the falling rockets. I might try adding some wings, adding some SAS automatic control guidance systems. I'm not sure yet, but for sure I'm going to get some sleep. So for now this is going to have to do it. See what happens with that rocket. It hit the ground, as will this bot soon enough. This was Lorenzo with the space program of planting flags. We're at 12 casualties now, 2 flags on 2 moons. Not that great a ratio at the moment, but anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe and like this video, of course. And for now, good night, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Bye bye.